All right. Let's see, everybody, if we are good to go. Hold on a moment, everyone. Sorry about the delay. My Streamlabs decided to crash right before I started, of course, so that was helpful. I'm just checking to make sure everything is good to go. Let me know if... Looks like we're live here. Let me know if you can hear me. I think we're good. All right. Again, sorry for the delay right there. My goodness, that was stressful. Yeah, that was some stressful stuff. I was running back and down upstairs trying to grab SD cards, trying to grab cords. I was running all over the place like crazy trying to grab things. That was... Wow. Okay. All right, we're good now. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, that was crazy. Trying to get a battery. My charger wasn't charging anything. It was insane. Okay. Anyway, we're here now. Everything is fine here now. Thank you. How are you? All right, let's see here. Check the chat. Do we got some of the usual suspects in here? Looks like we do. Oh my goodness. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going in the chat already. All right, let's see. Yeah, but it's kind of become a thing now where I don't start on time. That's just going to be my special thing nowadays, is just not starting on time. So apparently that'll happen. Something will always happen right before I go live. That's how it is. But how's everyone doing this week? Who we got in here? 501st Lieutenant. We got Southern, of course. Crystal. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Let's see here. How's everyone's week? Another week gone by. I'm getting very close to the end of the school semester. I've got about another week and a half-ish. Well, 2 weeks, I guess. One normal week, and then finals week. So that's exciting. Once that gets done, we'll be able to go full force on building, pun intended. We got, all right, Crystal doing good here. Southern's doing good. Awesome to see you boys in here. Looks like Crystal's brought some topics. Excellent, excellent stuff. That's right, Bad Batch is extremely close. I'm very, very excited for Bad Batch. We can talk a little bit about that if people want to. We are very close. I know some stuff got leaked on the run times on some things, but essentially for tonight, what we'll be focusing on is, you can see this little trench right here. This is new. If you guys are tuning into the live stream, you're getting a sneak peek here. This is what the episode this weekend is going to focus on, is this area up here, which I finished, and then this little trench, which I'm trying some new designs with kind of slopes to make it like the inner linings of the trench. So I'm essentially going to be touching this up over here. But yeah, doing pretty good. I'm actually really excited for Bad Batch. Can't believe it's here already. A year after Clone Wars ended, we're getting Bad Batch, so that's very exciting. I also know Matt Lanter recently came out, the guy who voiced Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars, and said he's doing some more work for the character. We've got a couple crazy theories, and then we've got a more realistic theory that we can discuss here, but looks like I got my parts mostly ready to go. Let's see here. Again, if I have everything set up correctly, we will be getting alerts on the screen for any new subscribers or donations. There will be alerts on the screen, so that should be pretty exciting. All right. Let's see. Also, we've got the new Darth Vader comic reveal about a certain person's hand. That is kind of absurd. I just kind of looked into that real quick, but all right, let's see here. According to the leaks, LaQuaine, yeah, that was kind of, I had a prediction since in some of the trailers, I know a lot of people discussed it. It looked like they were going to Seleucami, so I was like, you know what, I think Cut LaQuaine is 100% going to be in there. I will probably jump out of my seat if we see good old Cut LaQuaine again. Maybe his kids will be a little bit older. Maybe hopefully they'll still be there. And Rex will show up with the Bad Batch to be like, hey, Cut LaQuaine, we need some help here, feller. I know you got some weapons. I think we're going to need your help here. So if we see Cut LaQuaine, that'll be awesome. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Seleucami, that will be cool, though, because you can see in the trailer they're on some sort of landing pad or something. And some vegetation in the background. Some Reddit user found out it looked like stuff from Seleucami. So that is very intriguing indeed. Okay, let's see here. First topic. I do want to talk about how Darth Sidious has Exegol starter stores and how every one of them has a planet killer on there. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. Okay. Topic number 1, is the Jedi Order and Jedi Code as good as thought? Is the Sith Order and Sith Code as bad as they thought? Okay. We can get into that here pretty soon. Some other topic that I also was considering is I've recently been watching a lot of Japanese cinema, in particular samurai films. Been watching a lot of Akira Kurosawa and a lot of other kind of famous Japanese samurai films, and I am noticing there are a lot of stuff that George took from obviously Kurosawa's films, but I'm also noticing a lot of things between the Jedi Code in particular and the Samurai Code of Honor. I think it's like called Busho or something. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm noticing some things between the way the samurai are dressed and the way they carry themselves similar to Jedi stuff, so we can get into that as well. But let's see here. Sith Code as good as they thought. I think, this is where I kind of wish I would have read High Republic, because we can compare Jedi of different eras, but I haven't read High Republic, so won't be able to do that. So I guess we'll just discuss the Jedi and the prequels, which is about, yeah, there you go, Southern Bushido. We can talk about the Jedi and the prequels, and cover that more in particular. I think Rex went to cut place after Order 66. That would be interesting. Huh. If maybe Rex is already on Seleucami instead of Rex going with the Bad Batch there. That's an interesting theory, actually. That'll probably be what happens, but okay. Oh, I just about knocked over. You can see these right here. They're all full of 1x2s. I about just knocked all of them off my table, and that would have been very sad. So the Jedi Order as good as they thought. So I think it's kind of something to kind of think about here is when you have Anakin brings this up a lot, and when you set up a thing of rules or a certain code, what's interesting is some Jedi, how they interpret that code. Is the code more literal, or is it more of just something that you should think about when you're conducting business as a Jedi, or do people think of it like literally, like I have to follow this step by step? And we see that represented in a lot of different, Jedi and the way they carry themselves. We see that kind of difference of how they look at their code. And I think by the time the prequels come around, what's interesting is that's kind of, it's almost like a bunch of bad things coming together. What I mean by that is like they're in the middle of a war. Jedi aren't supposed to be in war, but obviously they're kind of forced into that situation right there. So what would be interesting to compare is the Jedi Order at a time of relative peace, which I know the High Republic kind of is like that. But again, I haven't read into it too much, so I can't really do much of an opinion on the High Republic. But I think just the war throws everything off, right? Because it's also one of those things where once you step outside your code, it might be hard to go back to what you originally had, right? And I think we see that in the prequels, in the Clone Wars, right? Once the Jedi have a foot in the door and they start to fight the war, then they just can't really ever stop, and they just have to keep going. Like once you take one step down, you just keep going after that, right? So that's kind of one of those things where once they start, they just had a hard time stopping, right? Because they also felt they had a duty to the Republic to fulfill, right? With protecting the Republic from the Separatists and the Sith, right? Count Dooku. All right. So looking at it when they were in war is going to change, obviously, a lot of the stuff that we're looking at. But we got here Jerry. Welcome to the stream, man. I think the Jedi Order was similar to real-world religions. Look at the Christianity people of different generations followed to draw a real-world example. That was something else with the samurai thing I was mentioning, like a real-world example. Let's see here. Yeah, I noticed that too when I was watching back. It's not exactly lined up properly because I couldn't figure out how to switch the audio to a different thing. So the audio is like on my camera, so it's not lined up with my face. So I apologize for that, man. I will hopefully try to get that fixed by next time. But where was I? Sorry, this is kind of hard. I'm trying to build here and do this. UCS Gunship Fordo would have been a great figure. That would be really cool. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, I think if the leaks are true, sounds like we'll just be getting a Mace Windu and like a clone captain or something, which is unfortunate, but it's whatever. Why do you think George Lucas had Yoda say always two there are in the Phantom Menace? Darth Bane never told anyone what he did, so how would Yoda know? I feel like in the final, or in season 6 of the Clone Wars, I believe they go into that when Yoda visits Darth Bane, in those episodes where he's trying to become a Force user. He visits Darth Bane. Darth Bane doesn't, I can't remember if Darth Bane tells him, but at that point Yoda obviously already knew, like you mentioned in Phantom Menace, right? He already knew about it. I don't know how he would have found out. It's a great question. It's probably just one of those small plot holes that you don't really think about. My guess is, I don't know, honestly. Maybe he found some sort of text, or he just sensed it, or he had a vision of some sorts. I really don't know exactly how he would have known about the Rule of Two, unless it's something where it's kind of like a legend, if that makes sense. So it was kind of like a legend, so maybe it was just one of those things where Yoda had heard about it, where it had been passed down for a long time. And it's also going to come down to how does, I guess Clone Wars technically already introduced Bane into canon, but we don't know the exact timeline of some of the Legends characters, because Disney hasn't brought them all into canon officially, like what timeline they'll be in yet, which is why I'm excited for the Acolyte, because we'll see if Plagueis or Revan are in it. I think that'd be interesting. They probably won't be, but also my guess is that when George was making Episode 1, he had no clue. He hadn't even thought of like a Darth Bane or anything like that. So it's kind of one of those, real life things where it kind of was like he didn't really know who Darth Bane was yet. So that would also probably be like the real world implications of it. But Palpatine's plan of genius made the Jedi either fight in the war or stand by and do nothing. And yeah, if they would have, stood by and not done anything about the war, then that would have gone against their code, because they wouldn't have been compassionate, and they wouldn't have helped people, right? You would have had people suffering throughout the galaxy, and the Jedi wouldn't have helped. But since they did intervene with the war, they broke their code, because they're just supposed to be peacekeepers, not warriors, right? So that's when you're mentioning his genius of his plan, that is one of them, because it was either way the Jedi had no choice, and they had to sacrifice part of their code either way, right? And that's kind of the interesting thing. But it's also one of those things where it's like, and maybe this is why the code is fundamentally kind of flawed, but their whole thing is helping people, and they're helping people who are in need. Generally, when a lot of the times the people are in need, there's some sort of fighting or violence that's going on, or some sort of oppression, right? So it's kind of the thing where like we're keepers of the peace, not warriors. But in order to be a keeper of the peace, they had to get into some conflicts, which it's kind of that thing where it's like they will, and again, Clone Wars, the wars kind of changes, but they would never strike first, right? They would always fight second. They would wait to get engaged before they fight, because they don't want to be the one that starts the fight. But it's one of the fundamental flaws where they're supposed to be peacekeepers and they're protecting people. But in order to protect people, sometimes you're going to have to fight. So that was always something I found interesting. And what's cool about it, and again, going back to how deep the prequels are and why I prefer the prequels over the original trilogy, it's like a real-world institution, as Crystal was pointing out. Because, what was I going to say? Shoot. Well, it's like a real world thing, because if you have a code in the real world, there's going to be situations that come up to where it's like, the code's not going to work all the time. No matter what your code is, it's probably not going to work 100% of the time, right? Just because situations are it's not black and white a lot of the time. So that is something I think I find most intriguing about the way the Jedi work. And then obviously the Sith, on the other hand, is like power hungry. They're like the ones who are in it for the power, even though. And I can't. You guys have to correct me because I don't read a lot of Legends. I'm assuming I don't know much about Revan, but I know he kind of dabbled in both possibly. But that's where it's interesting to see something where we have a Sith, and he's not super power hungry, and he just uses his anger to fight, but he doesn't like want the power. He just realizes the only way to fight that hard is to use his power. But again, that's the reason why you're considered a Sith, is if you channel that inner anger, no matter what you're going to use it for, the anger has a negative side. It's going to have a side effect to you, and that's kind of what draws you down to the line of the Sith. So I just kind of countered my own argument right there on accident. Let's see here. Bad Batch is a bit malarkey. Did I say that right? Malarkey? Yeah. I think that's somebody's name in Band of Brothers, I think. I don't know why that popped in my head when I was reading that. We'll see. We'll see what the show's going to be like. I know a lot of people didn't necessarily like the Bad Batch characters in the Clone Wars. They felt they're a little too kiddish, or 80s action. And I kind of felt that way too. I thought they were fine, but I think that's the reason I'm excited for Bad Batch is the time period it sets in. And mostly because I think it's going to deal with the clones, not just the Bad Batch. Even though we'll be seeing the story through the Bad Batch, I think it's still going to focus on all the other clone characters we really, really like. So I think Yoda knew about the Rule of Two because in Legends, at least the Sith had some rare and isolation encounters with the Jedi. It all takes one Jedi to survive, yeah. I still hope Darth Maul have the Monkey Kid hilt piece of his lightsaber in Ahsoka vs. Maul set, if not Maul Scream Kenobi. Oh, yeah. I'm excited for that Ahsoka vs. Maul set. I might pick it up because I don't have the Ahsoka character, the new one, based off of the Siege of Mandalore. So I might actually pick that up now that you mention it. I'm going to actually grab that one. Let's see what else we got here. Country peacekeepers like South Korea. Oh, no worries, man. Yeah, peacekeepers. That's also the thing, is that the term peacekeepers, right? So it's like, what do you mean? There's an objective definition of what peace is, but this is kind of the things with the Sith. In their opinion, peace means they have all the power and nobody can challenge them. That's their definition of peace, right? Compared to the Jedi, where it's more of, hey, individual freedoms and individual rights, persist instead of a ruler like a Sith. As much as I hate Luke in Episode 8, everything Luke says about the Jedi is true, especially at the height of their power. They allowed Darth Sidious to rise and wipe them out. Yeah, best line of Episode 8 for sure. Even though all the other stuff was interesting, to say the least. We don't talk about the sequels much, but just because I get way too fired up about the sequels. I used to, at least. Every time it would come up, I would just get so frustrated and just get so angry, so I just decided to stop talking about it. It wasn't worth it anymore to get angry over those movies, so that's kind of how I feel. Do you think it was risky to do the Rule of Two since accidental deaths could happen, such as both Sith dying on a ship or something like Darth Bane going to the light side? Yeah, it's like the cool. It's like cool where it's like, yeah, there's only two Sith, no more, no less. Like, it's kind of badass and cool. But on the practical side, it's like, well, yeah, what if you just they both die? It's like, oops, so much for the Sith. But yeah, it is kind of funny. I mean, and his main reason for doing the Rule of Two, essentially because the Sith always try to power struggle. They always try to kill each other over power. So in some sense, Bane felt that, he was saving the Sith by going to the Rule of Two. But yeah, one accident, and then there goes the Sith, right? It is kind of funny. Gonna be honest, as a person, I have a code to follow and try to make it so the code is flexible and allow myself to break the code if I haven't, because no code doesn't work all the time, yeah. Bad Batch Shuttle is malarkey. Yeah, I agree with you, man. We talked about it last week. I went on a little bit of a rant. It's to quote yourself, it's not good. It's not good. But rumor has it it's apparently recolored because that's the way it is in the show for some reason. So many Clone Trooper fans want Phase 2 helmet customization since the ARC Trooper helmet was a key design, but LEGO throw the key away. Hope Bad Batch is a second key design. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. If they do any new clones, it'll probably be a few years before we get any Bad Batch sets. Unfortunately, besides the shuttle, I think it'll just be a while. Well, it's been a year since Clone Wars came out, and we're just now getting the sets. So, yeah. Let's see. Can't wait to see the Bad Batch show to give us some answers on what happened to popular clone commanders as Cody. I think that'd be cool. I think Crystal, you better have Commander Neo if we're going to Seleucami. That's also very interesting. I think Bly would also be somebody I would like to revisit if we can. Seeing Commander Bly again would be really, really cool. And Boyle. My boy Boyle wasn't in any of Season 7, which was absurd. I really want to see what Boyle's up to. Is he with Cody still? Is he his right-hand man? We'll see. Or Wooly from Season 1. Cody's buddy Wooly. What's he up to? Clone Boy weighs like 8 million pounds. He put a hole in the ground. Hey, what's up, Captain Lego Star Wars? How's it going, man? Glad to see you here. Hope everything's going well for you. Rex Games, hey man, how's it going? Good to see you again. Yeah, I personally don't want Mace Windu to be alive. It takes away from Anakin's moment in Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion. It's a powerful moment, and to have Mace alive would kind of undermine that. As cool as it is, like to see Mace Windu come back and be like totally badass and a little dark side, I'd prefer not to have him do that. I just think he needs to stay down because it's Anakin's moment. It's a really powerful moment for Anakin. Even Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America says your peacekeeping troops carrying weapons. Don't like peacekeepers as a term because you can't keep peace without weapons or fighting. Again, kind of the dichotomy of the Jedi Code, where they're supposed to be peacekeepers, but not warriors. And then Mace Windu chops off Jango Fett's head. Well done, sir. Well done. Let's see here. Congrats on 2K. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, Southern. Yeah, it was a pretty exciting crossed it, I think, last week, I believe. I was definitely pumped about that because my goal was to get there kind of before the summer and stuff like that. So I was really happy and very fortunate to hit 2K. So that was really awesome. Now we'll try to push to the 3K. I think that'd be awesome to get 3K by the end of the year. I think that'd be awesome. Wow, Crystal, you have 3... Oh, because you got 3 ATs for the 332nd. Okay, I gotcha. 2014 Neo/91st. Yeah, I've got my... Where did I put him? He is somewhere. I don't remember where, but I've got... Oh, he's down on my shelf. You probably can't see it. I've got Neo down there. Is it supposed to be Neo or a Bark Trooper? I never was able to tell since they've got the same armor design, so I just interchangeably, use them or whatnot. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Mace Windu is still dead, yeah. Sergeant Hound or Commander Fox. Yeah, I wonder if we'll see Fox in Bad Batch. Interesting call. I don't know. We might. It'd be kind of interesting. People would have a fit. He'd be back. I mean, but it looks like we see Thyre, though, from the trailer, so they might focus on him more this time. Berisafi in canon is still unknown. Don't know what happened to her. I prefer Legend's death. It would have made sense in live-action film. Yeah, I remember when she she was revealed as the bad guy in the Clone Wars. I was a little shocked and not sure about it. I like it now because of what happened with Ahsoka, right? That's kind of a shocking thing for Ahsoka to have to go through. I'm just sad they haven't used her yet in anything, as an Inquisitor. I would have loved... I think if she's in Bad Batch, then that would be really cool, if she's an Inquisitor in Bad Batch. I also was always curious to see what Luminara's reaction was when she found out about Barriss. That was something they kind of skipped over. So that was always something I was interested in personally. Yeah, that's what I figured. His armor is about the same, so... Hey, Lego Dude, welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're having a good one. we're just kind of discussing about Jedi code in this one, a little bit of philosophy. Now, something else. I know George Lucas doesn't really like the idea of a gray Jedi. And I feel like, has Dave said Ahsoka's not a gray Jedi? I don't remember. That is something else that was interesting, the idea of a gray Jedi. I know, I think Lucas doesn't like it because it's like, well, it's always about light and dark, right? But I think it's an interesting idea, the idea of a gray Jedi. But at the same time, it's like, the gray Jedi probably pull a lot of the Sith tendencies, right, without fully going Sith, I suppose, which is interesting. But somebody that I have always, well, not really until recently, that I've tried to highlight when I'm watching The Phantom Menace is Qui-Gon. I think somebody brought him up earlier. To me, Qui-Gon was always just kind of there. And then as I grew up and watched the prequels more, Qui-Gon's interesting because in Episode 1, you know, they kind of talk about how he disagreed with the Council a few times. And how even Dooku in Episode 2 says that Qui-Gon Jinn would have joined him. I'm not sure if that's entirely true. I don't know if Qui-Gon would have joined Count Dooku. I don't think he would have went that far. I think you could have seen Qui-Gon like maybe leave the Jedi Order, but I don't think he ever would have joined Dooku. Because Dooku, he becomes a Sith pretty quickly. I don't think Qui-Gon would have ever done that. If anything, Qui-Gon might have tried to stop Count Dooku. But Qui-Gon to me is one of the most interesting Jedi, just because he is, and I haven't read Master and Apprentice. That's definitely on my to-do like reading list, Master and Apprentice. But even just an episode, and I've also listened to Dooku Lost, that audiobook, where you go into a little bit more of Dooku's backstory and his relationship with Qui-Gon. Even in that, he kind of loosely kind of goes and does his own thing, which is interesting. And what's also curious is how the Jedi treat other Jedi who don't necessarily agree or do things the Council wants them to do. Like with Anakin, when they kind of punish those Jedi for thinking outside the box, which is one of those things where it's like you get punished for doing the right thing, but doing the right thing the wrong way, if that makes sense. Obviously, Anakin and Ahsoka did that a whole lot. And I think Qui-Gon too. You know, when he's like, the code forbids it from taking 2 Padawans on. It's like, the code forbids it. Like, they're so strict to the code. And even Qui-Gon believed in that ancient prophecy about the Chosen One, right? And Qui-Gon, to me, seems like a guy who goes with his gut a lot, but he's not irrational or... he's not an irrational, like, thinker, but he goes with his gut quite a lot. Or if he feels strongly enough that the Force is telling him to do something, he'll really do it, like in the case of Anakin. Even if it's at the detriment of his own personal, how people view him or the consequences with the Council. So I always thought Count Dooku was great. When I was younger, I hated Episode 1, but later in my life, Episode 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorites because you get to see the last shreds of the Republic and the normalcy of the Jedi Order and society. Yeah, Episode 1 particularly, like when they're going to negotiate with the Trade Federation, and that was something that in the behind the scenes for one of the Mandalorian episodes, Dave Filoni talked about how George pretty much explained the way of the Jedi when he was at interview process for Clone Wars, which I thought was really funny. Essentially saying for like how the Jedi would negotiate and stuff. So that was cool seeing them negotiate. I guess they didn't really get to because they got attacked right away. But yeah, I don't know. That's why I always thought the High Republic would be interesting to explore. But from what I've heard from other people, I'm not sure if they really dove into that a whole lot. I'm not sure. I haven't read any of the books yet, but I've just been listening to some reviews. I don't think Qui-Gon Jinn would have joined Dooku, but I think he would have left the Order because he would have been legally required to join Grand Army of the Republic if he stayed in the Jedi Order. Yeah, I think what probably would have happened is he would have tried to fight as much as he can, like speak out against the Council and try to deter them from probably joining the war. And he either would have, he might have left, and he might have, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of formed his own, not faction, but if he would have kind of went throughout the galaxy and helped people who would need to be helped, but did it outside of the Jedi Order. Dooku Jedi lost, Sifo Dyas would have been our master for Qui-Gon than Dooku. Interesting. Sifo Dyas is a character that I wish we got more of, in particular his exploration with trying to find suitable cloners for his vision about the war that the Republic was going to get into. So I think there's a lot of untold story with Sifo Dyas that they started to touch on in the Clone Wars, but I think would have been awesome to get some more on about how he had his vision, and then he had to travel to all these different clone facilities and try to find a suitable place to start cloning soldiers for the Republic, and then how eventually he got killed by Dooku and stuff like that. And in Dooku Jedi Lost, they do go into the relationship of Sifo Dyas and Dooku, which is fun. Let's see. False surrender. Yeah, we see that a little too often with a few of our favorite Jedi committing possible war crimes if they were to do that in our world. But it's always funny. It's like they're Anakin and Obi-Wan are sitting around. Obi-Wan's like, all right, I've been waiting to teach you this, but this is our prime way of defeating an enemy. And Anakin's probably like, oh, what do? We flank him? We send a diversion up the middle, flank him around the side. False surrender. That's what we do every time, and it works. It's like, all right. They apparently ruined High Republic putting way too much real-world agendas into it rather than Lucas simply using generic history. Yeah. Which, if they want to do that, they can do that. Just personally, I might not read them, you know what I mean? But, yeah. And you can find real-world politics in Star Wars, but it's done in a way where you can't really... You can tell, but you also can't tell, if that makes sense. It's not in your face. It's kind of hidden, subtext style, which is cool. Michigan Bricks, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Hope you're having a good night, a good week. We're just having a great, healthy discussion on the Jedi and kind of their philosophy on things. So, what else we got here? Marvelous Mox, hey, man, welcome, dude. You are here. Yes, you have arrived. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. I'm just kind of working on this section over here. It's a trench. It's kind of hard to see right now, but essentially there's a little trench down in here. And I'm using slopes as the inner lining of the trench and angling them in an interesting way. And you'll see that in the update video this weekend. And you'll also see I've kind of completed a lot of this area up here. So we're almost essentially done up until the point of kind of this destroyed section. And I'm going to start moving into the bigger kind of actual scaled buildings, like the big buildings. And that'll cover the remainder of the mock. So we're really going to start getting into the exciting things of the mock, so I'm super excited. It's going to be hard, though. It's going to be really hard. The buildings are going to be big, but I think it's going to start to give you that Muunilinst feel. Because right now it looks like Muunilinst, but once the buildings start going up, it's going to be crazy. I'll show you guys a picture soon of what I'm hoping to build next for Muunilinst here, but... Qui-Gon starting his own Force cult with Anakin if he stayed. That's another thing. He might have pulled Anakin out of the Jedi Order if he would have still been around during the Clone Wars. He might have pulled Anakin out of the Jedi Order. Something to consider. Oh, Chris was saying that it is not has some politics in there. Okay. Again, I haven't read it, so I can't really comment too much on it. I've just listened to some reviews. I kind of was hoping they wouldn't place it so close to Phantom Menace. I'd hope they'd go farther back in time, but it's alright. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, Michigan Bricks. Appreciate it, dude. Oh, yeah, Thyre will definitely get some more screen time in the Bad Batch. I don't know if he'll be a main character. You'll just probably see him walking around with Tarkin looking all cool. Which, again, that's what most clones just need to do anyways, so it's no biggie, right? Yeah, rip Fox on that. Getting his neck snapped by Vader. Hey, thanks, Marvelous. I never know, like, when I'm saying your name, I never know to say, like, most Marvelous Mox, or just say Marvelous, or just say Mox, or MMM, triple M. I don't know. But there are very little politics, if any people would just say that stuff for clicks. Interesting. I might pick up a comic of the High Republic when I you know, Back. Okay. That's the other thing, is I need to figure out if my camera has something where you can plug it into the wall where you don't need to keep changing the batteries, right? Let's see. If I actually get a promotion if Vader snapped Fox's neck. I'd love to see the High Republic era be a 50-50 timeshare between Jedi and Sith working behind the scenes. So that's what's interesting about the Acolyte. What was I going to say? That's what's interesting about the Acolyte. Is what exactly is the that show going to be about? Is it going to be about the Jedi? I know they said it's going to be about the Sith, but I'm curious as to how much they're going to dive into the Sith compared to other things, or if it'll be generally just more focused on the Sith behind the scenes, or if we'll see some well-known characters like Plagueis or Raven. So that's one thing. I'm curious also if it's like, I know it takes place right before the Phantom Menace. I'm just really curious about what the Acolyte's going to be about. If they're going to introduce new Sith characters, if we'll see old Sith characters. I'm really curious as to what they're going to do with that, with the Acolyte. So the thing about the chase between Anakin and Ventress is the buildings won't be to scale to do like ships proportions, if that makes sense. The size of the buildings, if I put in a bunch of ships, it'll make the buildings seem really small, and the mock overall will seem small because the buildings will be similar scale to minifigures, not entirely, compared to ships. So if I put ships in there, it's going to make the mock not seen as big. If that makes sense, the buildings will be out of scale, if that makes sense. So I probably won't do the chase between the ships, but if like had unlimited funds, then I'd make this like 2-scale, minifigure scale, and have like the ships flying in and out. But Michigan Bricks has started reading the Thrawn books. Interesting. A quarter of the way into the newest one that came out the other week. Okay, so you're talking about the newest ones, yeah. So I've read some of the first Thrawn book that came out like in 2017 maybe. It was just called Thrawn. It was the very first Thrawn reboot. I haven't gotten through it. It didn't interest me that much, the book in general. I wasn't super hyped about it. It's the only Star Wars book out of the new canon that I've started and haven't finished. And I'm sure if I got back into it, I'd like it, but I just wasn't super hyped about it. But maybe someday I'll get back into it. I think Thrawn's a really cool character. And Michigan, you have to tell me how the new one is, because I've heard some... I know it just came out, so I'm interested to see if people like it or not, so let me know, dude. Give me all your Legos. Okay, so maybe we see Dooku and Acolyte. That would be fun. That would be really fun. Brad Bricks, hey man, welcome. Brando Calrissian, nice, I like it. Hey, no problems, man. Don't worry about it, dude. Everybody's dream is like, hey, unlimited funds would be cool to build like the biggest mock ever, right? Let's see. Everyone's saying hi in the chat. Welcome. If you need funds, just make a deal with the Intergalactic Banking Clan. The Banking Clan will sign your treaty. Yeah, hopefully people don't care that I just randomly go and start quoting things every once in a while. The techno is at your disposal, Count. I love that scene. Such a good scene. Tyler's asking for World War II mock ideas. Okay, so we'll go with this. Are you wanting to do something more mainstream, or are you wanting to do something that maybe people haven't really heard or seen before? Let me know, and I will... Because I have a couple ideas, because I don't... World War II is something I've studied quite a bit of. The recent years I haven't studied as much, but back when I was in high school, that was like the thing that I studied, right? So I think I've got some ideas that you could totally do. I just don't know if you're looking for like a popular mock, or if you want to do something like that's not as well known, like a battle that's not as well known. So let me know. Let's see, 2003 or 2008 Clone Wars. 2008 Clone Wars for me. I just grew up with it. I think it's a lot deeper, and I just prefer it. But I don't really compare the two because they're so different. I love the 2003 Clone Wars and the 2008 Clone Wars. So I can't really compare them, but if I had to choose, I like the 2008 Clone Wars. It'd be cool if multiple mock creators came together and built one huge mock. Dude, that would be awesome. That'd be cool. It'd be super hard to organize, but man, would that be cool. Something that people, do at conventions is they do like a big train layout. So that's kind of like one big mock. Or like conventions will do, like one year somebody brought a huge Game of Thrones display. So it's kind of like one big mock. So human scale of annihilate. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Massive May 4th project. Uh-oh, teasing us a little bit. Share it with us once you get it done, dude. Haven't seen or heard as much, preferably. I honestly thought about doing The Man in the High Castle. Yeah, I've heard about that show. I've heard about that show. I think a battle that would be cool that I haven't seen a ton of, that would be fun to do creatively, is, I mean, technically it's, you can count it World War II, but like the Winter War, so Russia's war with Finland. What's cool about that is you have like Finland soldiers who had like skates, like snow skates, and they would go along the terrain and maybe they'd kind of shoot, or they have like grenades, throwing grenades and stuff. So I thought that would be fun to do. Also, Italy, the Italian front, there's a lot of cool stuff. There's this thing called the Gothic Line, which was a huge fortification along Italy in the mountains. It was like the last defense for the Germans. And they would have like tanks, but just like tank turrets, if that makes sense. Just the top, like built into the ground, shooting. So I've always thought the Gothic Line would be cool. Let's see. Don't see a lot of African front battles, and I'm guessing that's just because the terrain isn't as fun to do, right? So, alternatively, let's see. I've also thought, so there's, what was it called? Trying to think here. Trying to think. Something I thought would be cool is if you wanted to do the Pacific. I know there's not a ton of people doing Pacific mocks. I've actually got, so for my next episode of From Start to Finish, I'm doing a Pacific Theater mock. So that would be cool. I've also always thought it was cool when people do like resistance mocks. So like showing a certain resistance group fighting it back against the Germans instead of like two military forces. I've always thought that would be interesting. But yeah, I think there's sorry, I just went on a rant, but there's like so many different things you could do and so many battles that people haven't touched on, because a lot of people just build the base, like kind of some of the more basic ones, which are still really cool to see. But there's really a lot of really cool, unique battles that people can build out there. Sorry, I get excited about history, so I probably started going on a rant. Let's see. Chiss Ascendancy would just take over the galaxy. I've heard they're pretty interesting and powerful and kind of like a mysterious force. Falcon and Winter Soldier, overall I liked it, not as much as WandaVision. I think they left a few characters a little short. I think they sped things up at the finale. It felt a little rushed. I thought it was really cool still, and seeing Sam in the Captain America suit was awesome. I just felt like they kind of rushed through things a little bit at the end there, and they could have taken like another episode to kind of flush things out. And I think Bucky also kind of got, not sidetracked, but to me he was the most interesting part of the show, like him trying to get past being the Winter Soldier and all the bad things he's done as Winter Soldier. And I felt like they could have maybe done more with him. They did a lot with him, but I thought it would have been cool to get a little bit more with him. But overall I liked it, definitely. Let's see. Do you have custom Anakin's fighter set, or are you doing a custom? I won't have Anakin's fighter in this one, so I know they had a Lego set which looked pretty cool, but I never picked it up. But yeah, no custom starfighters in this one just because of the whole scale thing I described earlier. The buildings aren't entirely to scale because that would mean they'd be huge. So I can't do ships and stuff because that'll throw off the scale of the buildings in comparison to the minifigures, if that makes sense. But I do want to have a crash gunship in the back, so just like maybe half of the gunship crashed in. But that sniper in the conflict, there's some crazy cool stories about that stuff, dude. Are we applying to deploy the garrison? Interesting, marvelous. That's a little hint there for you. Battle of Sokovia due to how rare Marvel mocks are. Yeah, there's not a lot of Marvel mocks. That would be interesting. That'd be really cool. I wish that the Battle of Wakanda would be cool too. In Infinity War, I think that'd be a cool battle. That'd be a really cool battle for someone to do. You need a lot of the bad guys though, and a lot of just like Wakandan soldiers. Uh-oh, we are running out of dark gray 1x1 studs. That's not good. Alright. Do you study World War One or World War II? Definitely World War II. Although there was a period in time, I think when I was in junior year, studied World War One a ton. Senior year of high school was World War II. Because I watched the Great War channel. Such a great channel, if you guys haven't checked it out. I watched that like every day in study hall for World War One stuff. But definitely always been more interested in World War II. But my dream film to make someday is a realistic World War One film. It'd be more of, it's kind of like a horror thing. So to try to realistically depict World War One, I think that'd be fun to do. It hasn't really been done before, the true horror of that war. It's just terrible. Marvelous loves Falcon Winter Soldier. Definitely fun. It was a fun show. I like the African idea as well as the Gothic line. I just don't have much white due to winter. Yeah, white is kind of a hard... I guess I have a lot of white bricks. I just don't have a lot of white plates, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of small little... like, World War II is filled with so many small stories that there's just so many crazy stories like you could do. I know there's one story of... I hope I get this right, but there was like once a Japanese... It was either Japanese or Chinese. I think it was Japanese who fought against the Russians. A Japanese soldier who fought against the Russians. He got captured by the Russians, and then he fought with the Russians against the Germans, and then he got captured by the Germans, and then was conscripted to fight in the German military, and then eventually surrendered to the Americans. So he fought like on the different sides of stuff. I thought that was so cool. All right, see you later, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining, man. Have a good one, dude. May the force be with you. Hey, Hunter's back. Hey, man, how's it going? Going pretty good so far. Just going done with school for the week. Preparing for finals in the next 2 weeks here. It'll be pretty crazy, but I've had a pretty good one. Hope you've been doing good as well. I know you posted a picture on Instagram about the what you were building, and your new Lego setup looked really cool, dude. That was really cool. Because I think you mentioned you were moving, right? So that new setup looked really, really cool, dude. That looked good. I hope you do a video. Did you say you're doing a video on it soon? I definitely want to see the full setup, dude. Let's see. Yep, see you later, Crystal. Have a good one, man. Are you familiar with the Japanese soldier who got left on an island and didn't... Yeah, it's pretty crazy, dude. It's just... The Japanese were an interesting soldier during World War II. A lot of people don't know the atrocities that they committed in China. It was absolutely horrible, what they did in China, and it's never really covered, which is interesting. But yeah, just the way they fought and their devotion to their country and the emperor was just crazy and interesting stuff. The way they... Yeah, just crazy stuff, dude. Oh, nice. Nice, Melbourne. Born in Australia, South Korean. Nice, nice. Anyone know anyone from that time period? Great. Oh, wow. Great-grandfather bought both theaters? Wow. Gee whiz, that's a range of things right there. Someone who's in a camp and someone who's in the Hitler Youth. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I don't know anybody that fought in the war. Otherwise, I totally would have... Like, I don't have any relatives, or I don't know anybody who did. Otherwise, I totally would have sat down and tried to talk to them if they were willing. But yeah, if you know anybody who fought in that war, it's crazy, and we owe a lot to them. It's just crazy conflict. The fact that actually happened is crazy when you look at the numbers of people, the size of the armies, and the number of people who were affected and lost their lives in that war. It's just crazy that something like that actually happened. So let's see here. Sup, gamers? Hey, Captain Rex, man. How's it going? American and Germans battle at Castle. Yeah, so who did that? I think his name is Ace Spangler. He has a YouTube channel. He got interviewed at Brickworld for it. He built that castle, and he built that battle, and it was like my favorite muck there that year. It was pretty crazy. May 4th? I don't know if I will do a special video or not on May 4th. I'm not sure. Might be fun too, but I don't. I'm also getting my second dose of the shot next week, and I'm a little worried I'm going to get knocked out by it, so we'll see how I feel next week. And Bad Batch is on Tuesday too, so I'll probably just be watching that all day. I don't know if I'll upload. I was kind of thinking unless anybody has a cool idea for a video that we could do. Let's see. Grandfather on my dad's side was a part of the bombings on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Whoa. Really? My goodness, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. Dang, dude. Sweet. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward for that tour video, Hunter, because that looks like a dope setup. It looks really, really cool. It looked sweet. Alright, so I think I'm just going to continue the road a small bit over here, and then the building, I think it's going to be time to start next episode. So not this one, not the one this weekend, but I think the next one we might start on the building. So, let's see. Favorite mock that I've made? Probably the last one, the Clone Wars mock. I really had fun building that one. Otherwise, the one Paul and I built, Battle of Etanes, that one's got a special place in my heart as well. But I think the big Clone Wars mock was probably my favorite. That one I had the most fun building, I think. So, American medic who helped his side and German soldier at the French church is like, helps any bots. Yeah, I love Avengers Tower. Portion because roommate's cat knocked it over. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. That is unfortunate. So are you going to just build a tower, or are you going to try to build like part of like the Battle of New York from the original Avengers? That would be pretty cool. Even the tower itself is cool, though. Such an iconic, cool tower, dude. I remember seeing that tower in the first Avengers in the theater, and then when everything falls off, where it says Stark, and it all falls off, and it's just A. I think that's so cool. Grandfather didn't talk about it much. Always a touchy subject, I imagine, dude. Seriously. Yeah, that's yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, it was M1. Wow, dude, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's like my favorite historical weapon. So, M1. Hype for the Bad Batch. Yes, sir. Hype for the Bad Batch. Ironically, my father worked on nuclear missiles during the Vietnam War when he was drafted. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. I know, let's see, I think I did a Vietnam War mock a few years ago. But, yeah, it's just, yeah. Any relatives that served, it's just crazy stuff. What's your least favorite mock? Not because you don't like it, but because you built better. Siege of Mandalore. That one turned out to be a little disappointment, personally. Just because that was not the way the mock was imagined to be at all. So, yeah, Siege of Mandalore to me always felt like there was a lot more that could have been done, and I kind of ran out of money, time, and stuff like that. So it just did not turn out the way that I was hoping, that Paul and I both were hoping it would turn out. The landing pad was great. It was the back part of the mock, the cityscape, that did not turn out what was. That was not supposed to happen. So that will always live on in infamy in my head as a disappointment, because I wasn't able to do it the way that Paul and I were planning. But you know what? People still liked it. I'm still proud of the mock. So just something that always will bug me for a while. It's called Umbara. Yeah, Star Wars Vietnam. Oh, nice. Hunter, that would be such a cool addition to what we're doing. That would be really, really cool. I hope you can. I think there's probably room for it, honestly, so that would be really cool. Yeah, Captain Rex, props to your father, man. It's just crazy. Public didn't approve. Yeah, public definitely didn't approve. A lot of them didn't, yeah. Yeah. Gotta grab some more pieces. But yeah, I've got so right behind me, that way a ways, I've got a World War II Pacific mock that I'm working on for my next From Start to Finish episode series. I pretty much am building a Pacific mock. Got some palm trees, got a little creek, got a bunch of bamboo stuff, and a little trench in a pillbox. So you'll be seeing that From Start to Finish episode in the next couple weeks here. I've been having fun building World War II again. I love building World War II stuff. So Let's see. A few mocks I've made that I don't think were great anymore, but you can't beat yourself up too much. Yeah, that's kind of the way. It's something where it's not like think about it too much, because it's like, you know what, that's just kind of life. Where if you're doing anything, especially creative, like if you're anything creative or working with hands or writing books or anything like that, making things, you're gonna find stuff. You're gonna look back on stuff and not be very happy with it, but that's just part of the process, right? So, yeah. Crowd pleaser for sure, Hunter. Yeah, it definitely would be. Studying for AP exams. Captain Rex, may the force be with you, my friend. Good luck on those exams. They are important, so do your best to study for them. I don't know when your tests are, but don't try to hate yourself by the end. Study as much as you can. Know the information. Be confident in the information. You're going to do great. And you'll get a good score on those AP exams, dude. So good luck with that. Study hard. May the force be with you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. All right. A push. Oh gosh. I had a few friends that took that class. Good luck, man. Have fun, dude. Have a good one. Get a good score though, and then report back here when you once you receive your score. Report back here immediately. Let us know what you got. All right. Tears of joy. Jeez, dude. Isn't it great when you have a good professor? It's crazy. It just makes things so much, when you have a professor that just understands like how hard it is for school and stuff, especially when you have multiple classes, having a professor that understands that and is like very helpful with that, it's just so reassuring. It helps with stress so much when your teacher just gets it, you know what I mean? And just helps you out. It's so helpful. We got some advice from Hunter here. Best advice I've been given, and try to learn that over time. You learn tips and tricks and ideas on how to improve your builds. Every mock you grow better and better. Each one you learn better build techniques as you grow. For sure. And there's, again, I would say you can do it on YouTube, but also Instagram. People are posting frequently about their different technique breakdowns and stuff. So, for sure, definitely look at Instagram. There's a lot of technique breakdowns and all sorts of stuff like that, because you really can find some cool techniques that you might be able to implement in your next mock. So check out Instagram. If you don't have a Lego Instagram, make sure to get one. There's a lot of awesome builders there that build like some big stuff, but mostly small to medium scaled stuff, and you can find a lot of cool techniques hidden throughout Instagram. So definitely go check that out if you're looking for some inspiration. All right, how are we looking on the camera here? Just looking to see. Okay. So I'm just going to fill in this little pocket right here. Darth Maul's long lightsaber hilts. Accurate clone custom skins. Anakin proper mullet hairpiece. Recolored. Yeah. Unfortunately, it got delayed yet again. So I'm worried about that game because, yeah, I'm worried about that game a lot. Really worried. Like it'll come out, but I just don't know when because it got delayed once again, which really sucks. Uh-oh, someone's challenging Hunter. Uh-oh. Kashyyyk. Everyone's wondering where it's at. 2008 Clone Wars hairpiece is inaccurate and outdated. Yeah, it's classic to me though. That's why I always like it, because it's classic at this point, you know. Just classic. Classic Clone Wars, classic everything. But I can definitely get it if you don't like it. Because he does, in Episode 3 and Clone Wars, I know people started switching to, if they had an Anakin, they started to give him more of a mullet. Which, when my hair grows out, I get a little bit of, like, a lot of hair back here. It's really curly, though, so I've always thought of cosplaying as Anakin, because I'm also fairly tall. So I've always considered cosplaying as Anakin someday. I thought that would be really fun. Expensive, I imagine, but it'd be really fun. Let's see here. I I just can't wait to finish most of this road because I'm ready to do some buildings because this is getting a little absurd how big this road's getting. I'm ready to just make some more buildings. Right-row. Yeah, dude, Tyler, definitely get back into it, man. If not, just for something fun to do, you know? Something to keep you busy. Something fun to do, just keep posting. Especially World War II stuff. And wanting to see some more World War II stuff. Because Beyond the Brick usually would be what I'd watch to get my World War II. Like when I want to find a World War II mock. But since there's no conventions, Beyond the Brick hasn't done any new videos like that. So, World War II especially, dude. I'm also wondering specifically if I did like more of a World War II stream, if people would be interested in that or not. Like if I live streamed the build that I'm doing over there, for instance, I wonder if people would be interested in that. I'd totally be down for it. I'd love that. You can just talk about World War II stuff all the time for the whole stream. Okay. Just reading Hunter's response here. Yeah, dude, I'll be tuning in for that update video for sure, man. I've been curious. I think a lot of people have been curious, so be excited. See what. That's probably a tough choice though to do with what to do with Kashyyyk, man. So I hope you figure out something that you're excited about. And if you want to move on, you move on, dude. You know what I mean? Just do whatever you think you're going to be happiest with and whatever motivates you the most, you know? Okay. The other tough thing right now about building Muunilinst is I maybe should have started with the city, because right now that I'm starting to get with the main big buildings, I don't know how big to make each building, because what would suck is if I made the first couple buildings massive, like bigger than I want or planned, and then turns out I don't have enough pieces to finish the rest. So that's going to be kind of the tough thing, because these two buildings right here, one of these buildings, took up a lot of pieces. I was surprised by how many pieces it took off. So we'll see. I think the plan right now is just to make them as big as I can, and we'll go from there. Let me show you guys what I'm going to try to build next. I've got a screenshot of it on my phone. Let me see if I can pull it up. It'll be tough to build, but I think it'll be like one of the coolest buildings. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so it's going to be really bad quality, but so you can kind of see if I move it. So do you see that kind of building with all the pillars right there, and then the roof and the walkway? I kind of want to make that building next right there, that kind of big one with the walkway. That's what I want to try to build next. I think that'll be really cool. So we'll see. It's a big building and it'll take up a lot of pieces, but I think having a bigger building and then possibly having a walkway that goes to another building will actually be really, really cool. All right, let's see here. Lego Sith Empire. Hey, welcome to the stream, man. How's it going? How is it going? Conflicting thoughts, etc. Yeah, I get you, Hunter, man. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, whatever you decide, I know everyone will be excited to see what you build next anyway, so do what you must do what you feel is right, of course. Definitely be here for a World War II stream. Wanting to make an African core mock since I just brought 3 okay. After that, I want to do a large scale build. Yeah, I think the thing about the Africa builds too is the abundance of tanks, unless you kind of pick a battle where tanks weren't as, like, just because of the terrain, a lot of flat deserty terrain, there's a lot of tanks, so maybe that's why a lot of people don't build Africa mocks for the African front. But I do love the German figures and their outfits for that stuff. That's really cool. Did I take apart the Clone Wars mock? Yeah, I did. Probably back in January. I just had to, because all the pieces on this mock everything in this mock except for the sand green stuff was on the Clone Wars mock. So I had to take that whole thing apart so I could build this. Very sad day. Very sad day. It was very depressing and sad to take that apart, but I had to. So the death of that mock gave rebirth and life to this mock because of all the pieces that I'm using. So Working on Hoth's Empire. Nice, nice. Hoth is so cool. It really is. It's so cool. I just love the in the trenches, rebel soldiers in the trenches. I just think it's so cool. I mentioned this a few streams ago, but I've recently been getting into a lot of samurai films and samurai like history, so feudal Japan history. So recently, that's what I've been studying recently. I've been studying like medieval Japan, like the Warring States period, and then I've been reading still the Gulag Archipelago, which is about the Soviet Union in the 30s and the 40s, and partially in the 50s, I guess. So that's what I've been studying recently. But for the samurai stuff in particular, I don't know. I just found it so interesting to study. It was all this history that I didn't really even know that happened, if that makes sense, because I just didn't really know much about it. But then when I watched some of the films, you can see where George Lucas got a lot of inspiration for Star Wars, particularly with this one film from Akira Kurosawa called Hidden Fortress, where the story is told from two peasants' perspective, and they act like C-3PO and R2-D2. And that's he's mentioned it before, George, where that's where he got a lot of his ideas for episode 4 with R2-D2 and C-3PO wandering throughout Tatooine and telling the story from their perspective for the part of the first film. So Hidden Fortress, great. Same with Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai is where you saw a lot of the screen wipes. And obviously George used that in Star Wars all the time. So Seven Samurai and Hidden Fortress if you want to see where Star Wars got a lot of inspiration from. Yes, even though there are tons of Hoth mocks out there, the Battle of any mock having to do with never gets old to me. Love Hoth and the whole concept of the battle. It's so cool. Hunter knows a lot about Hoth. Yes, he does. He made an epic one for Brick World 2019, which was almost. My goodness, dude, that's crazy. We're approaching on the 2-year anniversary of Brick World Chicago. Crazy. It's going to be 3 years by the time we get to next year. 3 years since a Brick World. That's insane. Anyway, it gets very depressing really quick. I have a custom Tiger 1. Okay. Light bluish gray. Alrighty. Would you suggest reskinning the tank to tan? I would have to check some pictures again. You probably won't need to. Something I would be careful of is the Tiger didn't get introduced. It's been a while, so I could totally be wrong on this, but I want to say it wasn't until like spring of 1943, maybe. I know it was introduced in Africa first, so whatever battle you do, just make sure, do some research on when the Tiger was first introduced, and make sure you line it up correctly, because I know the Tiger didn't come out until a few years after the war started, so just, you probably already have figured all that out, but that was just something I just remembered was the Tiger didn't come out until a certain point in the war, so just be careful when you're doing your research on that. I think what you could do is, I think it would be, if you reskinned it all in tan, I think it would look a lot better. It's tough because I just love the gray design. I love that. It's like World War II Lego building iconic style, right? It's like Stormtrooper. It's like an AT-AT, that level of like iconic for Lego builds. But I go back and forth. I think you should recolor it or reskin it, make it tan. Or you know what, you said it here, tan, I think just adding parts of tan, so tan bits, instead of like making the full thing tan. I think that's the best idea. Something's getting a lot of compliments on his mock. I'll have to check that out for sure. Oh, Levels of Coruscant was cool though. I really liked that one. For Southern, I like that Levels of Coruscant one. Collision soundtrack is like the British bombers sunk the German battleship. Okay, interesting. Rogue One, the Star Wars Collision soundtrack, it sounds like the British. Okay, interesting. And yeah, of course, Star Wars, so many World War II influences with the weapons and stuff like that. Snow Star Wars mock, just don't have the pieces. If you're going to do a Snow Star Wars mock, I think what would be cool is instead of doing Hoth, you could try like Renvar, if you're familiar with that, from Battlefront the 2004 Battlefront 1, Renvar is a really cool snow planet. So if you're looking to do some different, like something other than Hoth, try like look at Renvar, because that's a really cool planet from the Battlefront 1 games. Hey, no problem, Sith Empire. Thanks for joining, dude. May the Force be with you. Hope you have a good one. Yeah, Renvar is so cool, dude. Renvar is such a cool. Because there's two on Battlefront 1, there's two maps. There's Renvar Harbor and Renvar Citadel. Harbor, I believe, is the one with the ice caves, which is one of the coolest places to fight in that whole entire Battlefront game. And then the Citadel is like this giant, well, citadel, I guess. You're like up high in the mountains fighting these ancient ruined structures, and you're kind of fighting through it. Such a cool planet, dude. I've been waiting for them to do something with it, and anything with it, really, in any sort of Star Wars media besides the video game, but alas, there hasn't really been anything of it. Just such a cool spot. For both eras, too, Clone Wars and Galactic Civil War. It's really cool. I'm wondering what I should do back here. No, I have an idea. See, thinking of doing a snow clone base mock, because you've also got the Orta Plutona or whatever it's called from season 1, the Trespass episode. You've also got that as a cool planet that you could build, because that's also a really cool one. So lots of cool stuff you could do for a snow planet, but I would check out Renvar if you haven't already, because it's one of the most underrated, especially if you came out with a mock of Renvar. Everyone's going to be like, whoa, not many people have done that before. You know, kind of catch people's attention. So, also, hopefully I haven't missed any of the chat. I've been trying to build here and talk, so hopefully I haven't missed anything here. My apologies if I missed stuff. I'm really trying not to miss any chats here, but all right. Felucia, yep. Felucia is great. What was I going to say? Oh, the times we saw in the Clone Wars I thought were great. In the beginning of Season 2. I thought that was so cool. When they're pinned down with the droids and Plo Koon has to come rescue them. It's one of the best openings to any Clone Wars episode. And Ahsoka's on the turbo tank. That one's really cool. One of the best opening action scenes for any Clone Wars episode for sure. I absolutely love that one. Let's see. I've seen a few super nice mocks of Felucia over the years. Would fun to do one myself eventually. I know Michigan Bricks, I think, is doing one, I believe. So I'll be definitely super excited to see that one. I always like seeing different people, even if it's a planet that people have built before. I don't get upset when people build the same planet, because I love to see different interpretations of that planet, because the planets are huge. So I think doing all sorts of different interpretations of planets, I think, are so cool. So I don't get upset when people do the same kind of mocks. I find it cool because people get to give different interpretations of what they like about the planet. So that's something I've always found really, really cool. Let's see. Breaker Chicago is a fantastic time, dude. It was. We had Mandalore. I had Mandalore there. You had Hoth and Daniel's Tatooine, which was just the absolutely crazy one. The Docking Bay, or Docking Bay 94, I think. Yeah. Those were the three. Yeah, we had the three large ones for sure. Yeah. I just know next year's Brick World is going to be crazy. So I'm going to be bringing quite a lot. If everything goes according to plan, next year's Brick World, I'm going to have a lot of stuff there. So traveling there is going to be hard, but I'm really, really excited. I've got a couple things. Hopefully it all pans out good. So that's all I'll say for now about it, but I can't wait, even though it's a year away. If you could be the size of a Lego minifigure and go around and explore mocks, which mock would you explore? That is an insanely cool question, by the way, dude. Huh. I think obviously Starkiller Base, Rich Boy J's mock right now is probably the one where it's like It'd be really cool to explore that. Just because of how big it is. I think, let's see. I'm trying to think what other ones would be really cool to explore as a minifigure. If you guys have any, put them in the chat. I'm trying to think what would be a cool one. Rich Boy J's for sure. That's a more recent one. Let's see. I think honestly what also be really cool is as a minifigure exploring like instead of box, like stop motions, if that makes sense. Like some of the great stop motions back in the day. I think that'd be cool. Otherwise, other mocks, definitely for sure Rich Boy J's. I think First Order Lego's most recent Mandalorian mock with the Crate Dragon would be cool, be terrifying, but it would also be really cool. Every Lego City build, like any massive Lego City build would be really cool. Same with Castle build. There's a build at Brickworld that's like, so imagine the length of my previous mocks, like all of my previous mocks, like the big Brickworld ones combined, that's like this one guy's size of a mock, and it's all a medieval castle village. I would love to explore that one as a minifigure. So that's 100. That one is my choice if I had to pick one. It's this medieval castle build that's at Brickworld every year. That's like the size of like 3 of my big mocks like combined. It's crazy, but definitely some sort of castle mock I think would be awesome to explore. Planning and setting up a small collab. Oh, okay, nice. Bunch of 327th clones. Yeah, dude, I love those clones. Paul, my collab partner, he adores the 327th Lego Clone Troopers. He's got a lot of them, as you saw in the Clone Wars mock. Used up a lot of those guys. It's weird that Lego hasn't made another design. You know what I mean? That's kind of weird that Lego hasn't made. Sorry, I'm in our basement right now, and like there's a bunch of pipes, so whenever someone turns on the water, it gets like super loud. So that's what that was. I'm guessing somebody outside used the faucet or something. Alrighty. All of the Kashyyyk mock, that would be cool. That would be really cool. Solid Brick Studios Kashyyyk mock, that's a great call. That's a really great call. To explore that one would be awesome. Alright, I'm gonna go just grab my charger real quick from my computer. Essentially what I'm doing here is I'm gonna build a little debris spot for this pillar that's falling down from this building. So I'm gonna build like a little hill around it, if that makes sense, as if it kind of collapsed into the ground. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Alright, I'm gonna grab my charger real quick. You guys can look at this. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, so the trench is super fragile. So anytime I knock it down, it gets absolutely destroyed. So that's what almost just happened right there. Alright, I'm gonna put this trooper right here. I'm gonna go grab my charger real quick, boys. 1 second here. I'm gonna grab that.